The Abraham Series, Story number 14, God Tests Abraham, taken from Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 19. As this narrative begins, Abraham is living in peace and prosperity. The fulfillment of the promises of God to Abraham have become a reality with the miraculous birth of Isaac. Abraham has just entered into a covenant of peace with his Philistine neighbors and is living near Beersheba in the south of Canaan. Jehovah's demand that Abraham offer Isaac as a burnt offering must have been impossible to reconcile with the covenant promises he had already received. And a burnt offering is exactly what it implied. The offering was not just slaughtered, but burned to ashes. Centuries after Abraham's death, the Bible records that Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son because he believed that God would raise Isaac from the dead to fulfill the covenant. With that in mind, here is what actually happened. After these things, God put Abraham to the test and said to him, "Abraham." And Abraham replied, "Here I am." God said, "Get your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. When you get there, offer Isaac as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will show you." So Abraham got up early the next morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men and his son Isaac to go with him. Abraham cut the wood for the burnt offering and left, and went to the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Then Abraham said to his young men, "You stay here with the donkey. The boy and I are going over there. We will worship, and then we will return." So Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and put it on his son Isaac. Abraham carried the fire and the knife. And Abraham and Isaac continued on together. Then Isaac said to his father, Abraham, "Father?" And Abraham replied, "Yes, my son, I am here." And Isaac said, "Look, we have fire and wood, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham said, "God will provide his own lamb for the burnt offering, my son." So they continued on together. When they came to the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar, laid the wood in order on top, bound his son Isaac, and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and picked up the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham!" And Abraham said, "I'm here." And Jehovah said, "Don't touch the boy. Don't do anything to him, because you have just proven the depth of your regard for me, since you didn't refuse to offer your son to me, your only son." And Abraham opened his eyes and looked, and there, right behind him, was a ram, caught by his horns in a thicket. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it to the Lord as a burnt offering in place of his son Isaac. So Abraham named that place Jehovah-Jireh, and we still say it, even today. On the mountain of Jehovah, God will provide. Then the angel of the Lord called out to Abraham from heaven a second time, "I swear by myself, I, Jehovah, say this, since you did this, because you didn't refuse to offer your son, your only son, to me, I will certainly bless you. I will multiply the number of your descendants until they are like the stars in the heavens, like the sand on the seashore. Your offspring shall take possession of the city gates of your enemies, and through your seed all the families of the earth will be blessed, all because you obeyed my voice." So Abraham and Isaac returned to where the young men waited, and they got up, and all of them journeyed back to Beersheba together. And Abraham continued living at Beersheba. The Abraham Series, Story number 14, God Tests Abraham, taken from Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 19.